Hello and very warm welcome. Today we are having one of the sessions where we will be discussing our answer crafting with respect to economy, right? Currently we are dealing with Indian economy part, and here we will be discussing the third day, questions of day 3. First question we will be discussing today. This was the question paper that you got. 6 questions were there. We will be discussing first question, that is question number 10, related to what according to you are the advantage. So question is related to potential growth. What is potential growth and what according to you are the advantages and challenges within India to achieve the potential growth. Now this particular question can be answered in this particular concept can be understood with one more concept that is there in microeconomics. This potential growth is related to macroeconomics because it is an aggregate concept, but we can understand this through a concept of, or we can correlate the concept of potential growth with one of the concept in microeconomics related to possibility curve, production possibility curve, PPC, or production possibility frontier, that is PPF. Let's see what exactly it is, and then we will go into the explanation of the answer that is required to be written for this particular question, right? So let's understand what is production possibility curve. To understand production possibility curve, first we have to understand what is marginal opportunity cost and what is opportunity cost first. What is opportunity cost? Suppose we want to produce two different type of commodity. Why we are taking two different commodities? Because on paper we can have only two-dimensional diagrams. So two-dimensional diagram or graph can be drawn. That is why we will take two commodities. So suppose there is a possibility of producing two commodities. One commodity, for example, is cloth, that is related to shirts, and second is related to some machines, right? So we have to produce we can either produce shirts or machines, right? This is related to output that we are talking about. And here suppose we are talking about some inputs. So inputs, suppose we take as labor as an input, right? And with respect to labor, suppose we are diverting labor from shirts to manufacture. So labor for shirts and labor for machines. I hope this table you are able to understand. This is related to input and this is related to output. So this is production. Output means production, and this is input. Input, for example, how many labors we are talking about, right? So these are inputs, these are output. Output with respect to shirts, so quantity of shirts that is being produced, quantity of machines that are being produced, right? So for example, initially suppose if we are focusing only on manufacturing of shirts, we are keeping other inputs constant. For example, land and capital, etc. We are keeping those inputs constant. I hope you can understand. These are the inputs, basic inputs, or what we say factor of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship or enterprise, right? That is related to factor of production, right? So these are the factors of production. When we talk about one input, we are changing one input, that is shirts, right? So suppose we are diverting this labor from shirts to machines. Suppose in initial phase we are manufacturing only shirts and we have dedicated 100 labors for manufacturing of shirts, right? Sorry. And no labor for machines. So we are only producing shirts, and suppose we are able to produce 50 shirts, right? We are able to produce 50 shirts and no machines. Here we will take a marginal opportunity cost also. Marginal opportunity cost, right? Marginal opportunity cost, or MOC, right? Now in initial phase we are manufacturing, we have given 100 labors for manufacturing of shirt, and we are able to produce how many shirts? 50 shirts, right? Now gradually what we are doing, we are diverting our labors, and there will be no marginal opportunity cost here. right? What is opportunity cost? The next best alternative that you will sacrifice for one particular product, right? For example, you are manufacturing shirts. You are happy by manufacturing 50 shirts, by producing 50 shirts, right? Now what you are doing, you are compromising, you are sacrificing the output of shirts by diverting some of the labors to manufacturing of machines, right? So some of the labors will be diverted towards manufacturing of machines. Now suppose here we divert 30 labors. We have diverted 30 labors towards production of machines, and production here declines. 50 shirts were being produced. Now it is only 40 shirts being produced at the cost of one machine. At the cost of one machine. So now you are able to produce 40 shirts. Now you are able to produce 40 shirts and one machine. I hope you are able to understand. See, in first case, you are manufacturing only shirts, right, and no machines. So all the labors that you are having, you have diverted all the labors for manufacturing of shirts. So all are manufacturing shirts. They are able to manufacture 50 shirts. Now what you have done, you have diverted some of the labors towards manufacturing of machines. So 70 labors for shirts, 30 labors for machines, and you are able to produce 40 shirts and one machine. So what is the marginal opportunity cost for this one machine? For this one machine, you have to sacrifice how many shirts? You have to sacrifice 10 shirts. See here, you have to sacrifice how many machines, how many shirts? 10 shirts for one machine. So for one extra unit of other commodity, you have to sacrifice 10 units. These 10 units are known as what? Marginal opportunity. I hope you are able to understand this. See, you have diverted 30 labors towards manufacturing of machines, and now you have sacrificed 10 quantity of shirts for manufacturing one machine. I hope you are able to understand this. Now let's divert more resources towards machines, and now suppose we are diverting 70 labors for machines and 30 labors for shirts, right? Now the production will further decline. Suppose now you are able to produce only 25 shirts. When you are able to produce only 25 shirts and two machines, now for one extra unit of machine, you are sacrificing how many shirts? You are sacrificing 15 shirts, right? Minus 15. So you are sacrificing 15 shirts for one extra unit of machine. So your marginal opportunity cost will become what? 15, right? Now suppose I am further diverting more resources towards machines, and less resources towards shirts. So I am diverting all my resources towards machines. So 0 labor for shirts and how many labors? 100 labors for machines. Now I am able to produce 0 shirts. Because no labor is working for production of shirts and 100 labors are working for this manufacturing of machine. So I am able to produce one more extra machine. That is, for one extra machine I have to sacrifice again how many shirts? 25 shirts. So this becomes what? 25. Marginal opportunity cost for producing one extra unit of machine becomes 25. I hope you are able to understand this. Now this is what? This is the table that we are having, observation table for diverting labors, diverting one of the resources when we are having choice between two commodities. Now we can draw the graph for this particular observation. We can have a graph of it. That graph will be known as what? Production possibility curve. So I hope you are able to understand what is marginal opportunity cost. Marginal opportunity cost represents how many extra unit for producing one extra unit of another commodity, how many number of commodities you are sacrificing, right? So you are sacrificing here 10 shirts for production of one machine. For one extra machine, you are sacrificing how many shirts here? 15. For one extra unit of machine, you are again sacrificing how many shirts? 25 shirts. So this is marginal opportunity cost. Now we can have a graph of it. So this will be the reading for this particular reading. We can plot a graph, right? Number of shirts and number of machines. So we take this graph of two commodities. One is representing shirts and other is representing what? Machine. Other is representing what? Machine. Now this is 0 0. When you are producing 50 shirts, you are producing 0 machine. See here. When you are producing 50 shirts, you are producing 0 machines, right? So 50 shirts and 0 machines. This is first point that we are having, right? Now 40 shirts, 1 machine. 40. This is 40 shirts. This is 1 machine, right? So this will be your point. 40 shirts and 1 machine. So this will be the point, right? And then we are having this, or we can take little further. Just a minute. See what we can do here. Suppose this is 1. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, right? These are number of machines, and for 40 machines we are able to produce 1 extra unit. So this is 1 extra unit, right? Now for 25 machines we are able, 25 shirts we are able to produce 2 machines. So 25 here, suppose this is 25 and these are 2 machines, right? This is 25 and then 0 shirts and 3 machines. So 0 shirts and 3 machines. This is the point. Now we can join these points that we have got. It will be like this. This graph is known as what? Production possibility curve or production possibility frontier, right? Now you can choose any number of combination, any combination of shirts and machines that will lie on this particular curve, right? This particular curve is known as what? Production possibility curve. Now you have to understand one thing here. This production possibility curve can be of different shape. This is concave towards origin. So this particular production possibility curve is concave towards origin, right? It is towards origin. It is like this. Like this. It is concave towards origin, right? The graph can also be convex in nature. Convex PPP. Convex production possibility curve. When the graph will be convex, when, see here, marginal opportunity cost is increasing, as you can see here in the readings, 10, 15, 25. When marginal opportunity cost is increasing, you will have what? You will have concave shape of PPC. So here marginal opportunity cost is increasing. Convex PPC you will be having when marginal opportunity cost is decreasing. And this can be straight line also. PPC can be straight line also. When it will be a straight line? When marginal opportunity cost is constant. So when marginal opportunity cost is constant, you get straight line PPC. Straight line PPC. Here you get, if marginal opportunity cost is increasing, it is concave, and if marginal opportunity cost is decreasing, it is convex shape, right? I hope you are able to understand this. Now, what conclusions we can draw from this marginal opportunity cost? We can draw these conclusions. This is marginal, this is suppose PPC, right? This is PPC, and suppose we take 3 points here, one point A here, right? This is point B here, and this is point C here, right? Now what is your observation about point A, point B, and point C? Point A, we can say it is underutilization of resources, right? For example, in this particular graph, as you can see here, when we are producing 25 shirts, we can produce 2 machines. In this particular case, if suppose if we are producing 20 shirts and one machine, 20 shirt and one machine, are we able to utilize or are we able to do optimum utilization of resources? No, because you can produce 25 shirts with two machines. Now you are producing 20 shirts with only one machine. So this is not optimum utilization of resources, rather it is underutilization of resources, and this point will fall under and inside the PPC. This point will fall inside PPC, that is represented by, or that is the point known as underutilization of resources. When we talk about point on PPC, so you take any point on PPC, any point on PPC, point B, so it is B1, suppose B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, B7 or B8, you take any point on PPC. If you are on PPC, that represents what? Optimum utilization of resources. That represents what? Optimum utilization of resources. Optimum utilization of resources. And when we talk about any point C, which is outside the curve, for example, this is C1, this is C2, this is C3, right? All these points, point C represents what? The non-attainable points, non-attainable. You cannot reach to these points. These are non-attainable points. What do we mean by non-attainable points? For given technology, for given workforce, it is not possible. For given resources, it is not possible to reach to these points. It is not at all possible to reach to these points, right? So these are non-attainable points. Now, the reason is, see, if technology improves, if skill set of worker improves, or if you increase another set of inputs, for example, here we have kept this, in this particular example, we have kept number of factory constant, only one factory is there. Now suppose you are increasing number of factories, two factories are there separately for shirts and one separate for manufacturing of machines. So two different factories we are having, two different set of labors we are having, 100 for shirts, 100 for machines. If we are increasing labor, if we are increasing other inputs, example land, capital, etc., then what will happen? Then the production will increase. So if technology improves, suppose if technology improves, or number of other inputs you increase, so what may happen? Your PPC is like this. Suppose your PPC is like this. If you are increasing a number of other factors, then what may happen is your PPC may shift to this point, right? Your PPC may shift to this point. Why? Because you have increased number of inputs, you have improved upon technologies. Now see, please don't misunderstand the things here. Suppose these are for shirts and these are for machines. Now it may happen that technology improvement is only for shirts and not for machines. So when technology improves only for manufacturing of shirts, or you increase inputs only for manufacturing of shirts and not for machines, so what you can see here, you can see this type of shift in PPC. There is no increase in machine, but there is increase in shirt, quantity of shirt. This is how you can have a PPC or shift in PPC, or this can also be one of the variant. Suppose the technology improves only for manufacturing of machines and not for shirts, This is how the shift can be there. So as you can observe, shift is here, there is no shift here, there is no shift here, and shift is here. So this is how the PPC can be drawn if technology improves. One more factor we can consider here, that is, if some natural calamity happened, or for example a recent recession period is there and you are not able to produce in your given capacity, in whatever capacity you have, you are not able to produce in your capacity also because some external factors are there, natural calamity, etc. So your PPC may shift towards origin, means you will be at underutilization of resources. So this is how PPC can shrink also. Now, what is the relevance of this concept? How we can relate this particular concept of microeconomics? This is about microeconomics because we are talking about individual individual units of commodities or individual commodities. So this is the concept related to microeconomics. How we can relate this to potential growth, that, which is the concept of macroeconomics. See, this is your potential growth. This is your potential growth and this is your actual growth. So when we talk about potential growth and actual growth, potential growth is what you can achieve, right? Potential growth is what you can achieve, and this is actual growth. This is actual growth that you are having. So this is actual growth, what you have achieved, and this is achieved, or this is when we say potential growth, it could be achieved, could be. I hope you are able to understand this. Now, when you will be able to achieve your potential growth, for example, if you have studied in environment, we have the concept of niche. We have concept of niche of a species. Now, when we talk about niche of a species, there are two niche: fundamental niche and realized niche. Fundamental niche and realized niche. When we talk about fundamental niche, that what a species can do, what a species can do, what food he or she can eat, what food a species can eat, what kind of habitat in which it will be living, right, etc. So all actions, all everything what a species can do is the part of fundamental niche. But what this species will actually do, that is realized niche. So what it achieve, that is the part of realized niche, right? So I hope you can understand fundamental niche will always be greater than realized niche, or it seldomly it will happen that fundamental niche will be equal to realized niche. Now coming back to the concept of potential growth, right? So this can be achieved. Why? How it can be achieved? By optimum utilization of resources. Optimum utilization of resources, right? And if you are not using your resources optimally, then you may be underperforming and your actual growth may be less than the potential growth. It can happen, right? So this is how the concept is related to PPC. So we have learned two concepts. One is related to PPC and other is related to potential growth and actual growth. Now, how we can write answer for this particular question? What is potential growth? What according to you are the advantages? So we have to focus on advantage. We have to focus on challenges with India to achieve its potential growth. I hope you can answer now many dimensions. You can understand change in technology, optimum utilization of workforce, right? For example, if employability is not there, if unemployment is present, that means you are not able to utilize your workforce properly or optimally, right? So that is how our understanding is optimum utilization of resources. Maybe we can have new resources, some mining can be done, some new exploration can be done, so that we can increase the inputs, right? Increase the inputs. So I hope you are able to understand. So how we can write the answer? First, you can write about potential growth. So rate of growth that economy can sustain over the medium term without generating excess inflation. I hope you can understand this particular concept. When we talk about this business cycle or growth cycle also, when growth takes place, with growth, what happens? With growth, when growth is increasing, with growth, what happens? Inflation also increases. With growth, inflation also increases. That is why this growth and inflation trade-off is there. If you focus more on growth, maybe that will also, inflation will be byproduct and you will be having increase in inflation as well. But when you curb on inflation, when you try to curb on inflation, you may also decline the growth. This is how the business cycle can be there. Then it can be under recession, and then it can be under recovery. These are the business cycle that we have seen at some point of time. That's how it is. So without generating excess inflation, because again excess inflation will be again a problem for us, then maybe the growth will be crippled because of high inflation there. Demand will decrease, etc., and then we will be having more production but less demand available, right? So that is how the things are. It is measured by estimated annual change in a country's potential level of national output, right? So for example, if we are projecting our growth as 6.8 to 7%, below 7% only, 6.3 to 6.8%, or by RBI it is 6.5%. So many institutions are there which is projecting growth. For example, IMF also, World Bank also, RBI also projecting growth, right? So it is below 7%, 6.3 to 6.8%, right? That is the growth that we are projecting, estimate growth, right? Now, factors that increases or for increase in potential growth, what factors are responsible? For example, increased capital. If we increase, if we spend more on capital expenditure, or if we do lot of capital expenditure for enhancement of infrastructure, right? Infrastructure can be one thing which we can talk about when we say increase in capital, right? Infrastructure, for example, investment in roadways, railways, right? Investment in dams, irrigation projects, investment in communication technologies, right? These are investments related to capex, that is capital expenditure. Or increase in labor productivity with better training, right? Labor productivity means there is no disguised in unemployment, etc. So you are increasing your labor productivity. Your labor is not falling ill, so he or she turns up to the work, right? These are the labor productivity. Better training, better skill enhancement has been, better skills have been imparted to labor, etc. These are the things, increase in labor productivity. Discovering new raw materials, for example, new oil exploration sites, new exploration of minerals, etc. So increase in inputs. I hope you can relate to the PPC curve that we have discussed so far. So that is new inputs, right? Also technological improvement. If new technology comes in, that means with given resources only, we will be able to generate more and more, we will be able to produce more and more output, and that's how the GDP can increase, right? This is what we can write about this potential growth, right? Now, since we have already seen that how we can represent these things, so factors responsible or factors to be considered for enhancement of potential growth or increase of potential growth, and maybe we can write about these 4-5 points like this, right? Or we can write like this. This is how we can write. So I'm not focusing on representation now, because in previous sessions we have discussed how to represent answer, right? So that is not the focus today. Today is the focus to understand the dimensions as much as possible. For example, this advantages with India to achieve its potential growth. What sort of advantages we are having? For example, this large and growing population. When population, we are having enough population, what does it mean? It means that there is a demand in economy. There is a demand in economy, right? Labor force availability is there, demand is there, so we don't have to find another markets, right? We have to find, if we export, that is good for economy. But as you can see, Western countries and other developed economies are spending in India or investing in India. They want to sell their product in India, they want to capture market of India. Why? Because we are having large and growing population, right? So demand is there, and that demand, we can also use this population for consumption, and we can increase our production in this particular manner. Young and dynamic workforce, the kind of demographic dividend we talk about, right? The average age of Indian is below 30 years, so they can adapt to new technologies also. For example, now artificial intelligence, etc. So if they can adapt to new technologies, they can produce more, so that can also be one advantage. Growing middle class, when we are taking people out of poverty, that means their disposable income increases, their well-being increases, so they will spend more in economy, their demand will increase, and that is how, if demand increases, we can supply more and we can have GDP growth. Technological capabilities, right? For example, when government is investing in research and development, even private firms are investing in research and development. The new news about TCS, etc., when these firms are imparting skill enhancement to their employees, so that is also related to technological capabilities. If technological capabilities increases, new technologies comes in, what happens? Then with given inputs only, we will be able to have more output. Government reforms and policies, for example, reforms like GST implementation, reforms like in industrial sector, when we talk about this insolvency and bankruptcy code, etc. When this happens, government reforms, government comes with new policies, etc. Government facilitates trade, facilitates business, and facilitates GDP growth, right? So this is how it is. These are the advantages. Now let's talk about the challenges that we are having. For example, infrastructure deficit, the kind of roadways, road network, railway network, logistical support that is needed. So there is a gap, there is a deficit of it, right? In fact, today also we are one among the countries where the logistical cost is very high, so that has to be taken care of. Infrastructure is needed, skill gap is needed. We have we can harness the demographic dividend only when this population is skilled population, right? Skilled population. So when people come out of the college by completing their engineering or other degrees, they need some other courses also. They need some skill development courses also, because the kind of gap we are having it in our academics and our industrial requirements. So that gap needs to be fulfilled. Now you can also mention various programs for it. In way forward, you can mention for infrastructure deficit, we are having PM Gati Shakti. Here we are having PM Gati Shakti, etc. Bharatmala, Sagarmala, all things you can write when it comes to infrastructure development. When it comes to skill gap, you can talk about Skill India, right? Skill India, you can talk about this regulatory hurdles. For example, number of permissions that are needed, single window clearance is not there. And when government talks about single window clearances also, there are some environmental challenges, etc. are there when you are about to open a business. So these things to be taken care of. Insufficient agricultural sector, for example, this approximately 14% GDP is coming from agriculture sector, but 45% approximately workforce is involved in agriculture. Now you can understand 45% of workforce is involved in agriculture, but they are able to contribute only 15% or 14% into GDP. That means these many people are not required in agriculture. These people can be shifted to, for example, can be shifted to industrial sector, and can be imparted some skills and can be incorporated in maybe industrial sector or services sector, right? Like that. And income inequality, when we talk about income inequality, it is the biggest challenge for India, one of the biggest challenge for India, when the fruits of this development, fruits of this growth, economic growth, for example, we have sustained growth of 5 to 6%, right? We have sustained growth of 5 to 6% over last decade. The fruit of this growth will not be equally divided if there is income inequality. So that has to be taken care of, so that if income inequality decreases, if more and more people are coming out of poverty, their lifestyle enhances, their well-being enhances, then they will be able to demand more, and we will be able to produce more for this chunk of population also. And that's how we will be having increase in GDP, right? Now, when we talk about way forward, you can mention this Skill India, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana for skill development. For manufacturing, you can mention Make in India, Digital India, or you can mention this production linked incentive schemes, production linked incentive schemes also. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi for agriculture, for having some dignity to the farmer, that is PM Kisan, for income support. And for taking care of this agricultural production, that is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana for crop insurance, etc. Manrega is there for providing this employment, assured employment for 100 days, right? Manrega is there. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, that is having financial inclusion because of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, so that people will have their account. Now, having an account is an identity. Now, if you are having an account, you may avail credit facilities also, right? So these are some advantage. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, or will help in capturing income inequality. So these are the things you can write about way forward, right? So for example, when we talk about infrastructure, this is Bharatmala for roads, Sagarmala for ports, this smart city missions for this urban infrastructure, and this public-private partnership for this development of roadways, etc., and other projects. And foreign direct investment are being encouraged to bridge the infrastructure gap. So this is how infrastructure gaps can be bridged, right? So this is how you can write about this. I hope you have enjoyed this. You are able to understand from this particular, I hope you are able to understand, right? And so this is how it is. This was the thing that I had to discuss today. Any question from this particular topic and the question that we have discussed so far? Is there any question? Are you able to understand this? Right. So fine, then we will meet in the next class. We will discuss few more questions, and thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.